Ring the bell, damn it.
Oh my god. Straight out of the gate destroyed me. Anyway, you know what that sound means, don't you, Slick Vic?
Yeah.
It means that now you are wrestling with power. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Mr. Mosley here, joined as always by the incomparable, the magnanimous, the maestro of the crystal ball, and some may even say Mr. Perfect himself, Slick Vic. Vic, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday evening of February the 10th?
Well, thank you very much for that most distinguished intro there, Mr. Mosley. I couldn't have said it better myself. I am
Very
just
well.
peach. I mean, this is definitely not a peach flavored drink. I'm peachy.
Yes.
I'm doing all right. I'm living living the dream, not libation. Never mind none of that stuff. Everything's good on my end.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm good. I'm breathing. I'm I'm above ground, right? That's what the old folks say. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they say. I'm 6 feet above ground, so I'm doing good. Yeah, me too. I mean, today's a good day, February the 10th. You know, this day, somewhat 37-ish years ago, in a few hours, yours truly came charging out of the entranceway into the world. So it's a good day.
You hatched out of that egg.
I hatched out of that egg, yeah. Yeah, Eggman. I potatoed the doctor as soon as I came out. No. So yeah, February the 11th is my birthday, so that will be tomorrow. But what's cool, and as you can see here, I actually found this sweet shirt today at a store that I was working. It says, I don't know what it says actually, I've never even read it. Summertime Scares, Happy Camping. It's a Friday the 13th shirt, everybody, because this Friday is Friday the 13th, the first of 3 that we are having in this year of our Lord 2026.
That's awesome.
And
I love it.
on that note, Slick Vic, I know that we often kind of throw this in wherever we can fit it, but I believe it's appropriate to go ahead and take a look at your gimmick today.
Funny you should ask, Mosley, because I have a little Jason Voorhees here. This looks like Jason X era, maybe remake Jason, but he's got the coat. I don't know how familiar you are with your Jasons, but this is definitely not an early Friday the 13th Jason.
No, it's kind of giving me Freddy vs. Jason vibes. Didn't he wear gloves in that one?
He might have. I believe he also wore gloves in the remake. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. But he didn't. Did he wear a big coat? Yeah, he did wear a big coat like that in the remake. So it's untelling. What's the year on that? Does it got a year stamped on the bottom of it?
Well, thought I saw it's really tiny font, but no, that's not a year. No, I am not seeing a year on this thing, Mosley.
Where did you get that?
This was a gift from our Hyrulean friend.
Ah, sweet. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to do a quick... you could always do a Google image search on that bad boy and find out exactly what it is. But I'm going to try to do a quick image search here. Let me see. Friday 13th Jason mini figure. Let's see what we get.
While you look that up, let me ask you, what is your favorite Friday the 13th film?
We talked about this extensively back around Halloween of last year, and I'm sure we'll get to it more as the days and years go by. But I have to say, my favorite Friday the 13th film is still Part 5.
The underrated one. Very underrated. The criticisms are just not valid anymore. I understand people being mad in 85, but watch it now, knowing that it's not who you think it is, it's still a really fun movie.
Yeah, and that's sort of the whole point of the thing is, like, it's not Jason. It's somebody pretending to be Jason, but it also goes back to the Friday the 13th, the first one and even the second one, where a lot of the kills and stuff are from first person. You don't even see who's killing anybody until kind of towards the end of it. And that was very neat too. That was really cool. Plus, I like all the characters. I kind of like the story. I mean, that's just something that sticks with you. That story, I feel like. That guy getting hacked up over a chocolate bar, and you know
that's the whole premise of this movie, man. This is all because of a chocolate bar.
The guy trying to take a shit, and he ends up dying because he ate too many enchiladas. Like, come on,
enchiladas.
That's cinema. You want to talk about cinema? Yeah. That's cinema right there.
I think my favorite kill was the dude getting the belt wrapped around his head and just squeezed and squeezed. And was that a belt?
Oh, yeah, it was a belt. Yeah, yeah. He puts the belt around, then he sticks like a stick or something in it and twists it up.
Yeah, basically just squeezing his head with a belt until like it crushes him. Like
I don't know
really
how
deep into the eyes.
Yeah, it did some major damage. I'm not anatomically very smart when it comes to how that happened, but I know that it definitely did some damage. Well, Vic, I gotta say, I'm coming up with nothing here on your figure there, but it is a mini Jason. It looks like it's probably from either the remake or maybe even the Freddy vs. Jason style. Very cool, very appropriate. So, maybe we'll delve into that a little bit later and figure out exactly where that little guy came from. But for now, Slick Vic, why don't we talk about some recent news? All right, so I only have a few things here, Slick Vic. And I'll start with probably the most unimportant of the recent news. It's about our old friend Ricochet once again hitting up the Twitter machine and you know, running his mouth. We've talked about this before. You thought that he was playing a character even on Twitter, but I still maintain that he is just an asshole and that nobody likes him at this point. But he basically said, and I don't remember when this was, just sometime within the past week or two, that WWE has ruined these guys' careers, and he names Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, Apollo Crews, Ali, I guess that's Mustafa Ali.
Yes.
Tommaso Ciampa, and he said I could keep going. So, I thought this was interesting. I thought I wanted to get your take on this. Do you agree with Ricochet?
You know, it's hard to say, because all the names he mentioned didn't really ascend to the main event. They were all plagued with either injuries or just bad creative. Because, like Balor, he mentioned Balor, right?
Yeah. Yep.
He was our first Universal Champion.
Yeah.
And then he lost. He had to forfeit the next day due to injury, and he was never near the main event again.
Yeah.
And then Nakamura, he had his Royal Rumble win versus AJ at WrestleMania. They had a lackluster feud, and then he was never near the main event again. Who else did he name on that? Ali, well, Ali's a strange case. He's a victim of Kofi Mania.
You know, I think that Ali and some of the names on here, Apollo Crews, you know, these guys. Well, let me back up. First of all, Ricochet's saying that the WWE ruined their careers. It's not necessarily that they didn't make it to the world title picture, that they weren't main event guys, because not everybody's going to be a complete, main event guy. Not everybody fits that role. I still maintain that Sami Zayn, not a main event guy. He is, as Stephanie McMahon would say, a B-plus player. He's a damn good B-plus player. But I don't see him as the top guy. So I don't think that the fact that these individuals weren't necessarily top guys or main event guys for very long, if at all, he's saying that the WWE completely ruined their career. I think that when it comes to like Apollo Crews, maybe he could have been booked better. He never would have been above mid-card. Ali, yeah, Jesus Christ, can you see him as the world heavyweight champion? I kind of agree and I kind of disagree. Shinsuke, I definitely agree on. I think they should have capitalized on him. I think they still should capitalize on him. He's still a fan favorite. Finn Balor, hit and miss. Finn Balor hasn't been a main event guy. Finn Balor's had a hell of a career in WWE, so I don't agree with the assessment that they ruined his career or anything.
No.
But what more can you do with, I guess is what I'm saying about a lot of these guys. What more can you do with them? So, I don't know.
It's there's only so many spots in the main event.
Yeah.
And an argument can be made that a lot of the same guys are in the main event.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of there's two ways to argue this, really.
At the end of the day, Ricochet saying this, I don't think he has a place to be speaking for other people like this, especially, like if we look at Shinsuke, for example, and say WWE hasn't used him right. He could have left. He didn't have to re-sign. He's been there for years and years and years now. He must enjoy what he's doing. So, I think
very valid. Very valid.
I think Ricochet's a little out of pocket here, but he often is out of pocket on the Twitter machine. If you, and I'm not on Twitter, but I hear about this a lot. So I think that Ricochet just likes to complain. That's my assessment of this. But you know what? More power to him. On to the next one, Slick Vic. According to High Spot Podcast, Grayson Waller is the mystery guy who took out Braun at the Royal Rumble. Now, we know that it wasn't Austin Theory because of this past Monday on Raw. Right? So, I think I asked you on the last episode, who do you think it could be? Who could it be? Does it make sense? Some people were saying it was Adam Pearce. But here's another idea. Here's another theory. Grayson Waller, former tag team partner of Austin Theory. What do you make of this, Slick Vic?
No. I'm going to say no. Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean I could be wrong, but I don't see Austin Theory.
A good question. This may be a good question for the old crystal ball. You may have to look into it. All right. We'll save that for another episode. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know who it could be. And even if it was Grayson Waller, is that big of a... Grayson Waller is another one of these guys that, is that really going to be a big deal if it was Grayson Waller? Shouldn't it be somebody else that would be a bigger deal getting involved in the main event scene here, the Vision's business?
Right. I just don't see it happening. I mean, I'm trying to think of people I would guess that would be the Masked Man. And by the way, I'm also sick of the Masked Man gimmicks.
Yeah.
But, it's definitely not Seth Rollins. But, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's Chris Jericho. I don't, and here's another thing, too. Whoever it's actually been the past couple of times that we've saw them, that doesn't mean that's who it has to be when it's revealed. They could have some noob going out there and, some jabroni just in a mask, and then finally when they decide to reveal, then they're going to put whoever they want behind it. So that's a possibility too, I guess.
Like the higher power?
Yeah, like the higher power. But no, I don't think that. I think that would be a bullshit way to go, Grayson Waller. Who's going to give a shit other than Austin Theory if it's Grayson Waller? So
It's
now
me, Austin.
Now the big news, as I'm sure that everybody out there, all the WWE fans are well aware, Bron Breakker injured himself this past week. And, which we'll get to it on the Raw review, they tried to write a storyline around it, which I find absolutely just mind-blowing why they would do that. They tried to make a storyline reason up, but they said what actually happened, but not how it happened. Right? So, Bron Breakker apparently had to undergo hernia surgery and is going to be out for an unforeseeable amount of time. This, on screen, on Raw, they said that it was because he was working out too hard. Because he was pissed off and he was working out too hard. In actuality, Bron Breakker injured himself when he flipped the table over last Monday on Raw.
That must have been a really heavy table.
Not yesterday, but yeah, the table that's made out of basically cardboard that gets people thrown through it all the time. He flipped it over and got a hernia. Bad enough that he had to have surgery, apparently. Is that not insane?
I've only got one thing to say about the 3 words. Or 4 words, rather. I am the table.
Yeah, the table won. The table is officially, I guess the table's in the Elimination Chamber match. I have one word to say, and it's this, Slick Vic. Damn! Because, as we all know, Bron Breakker, one of the main attractions on Monday Night Raw, one of the biggest reasons to watch that show, seeing him is always just a treat. He's always so good. But apparently he's a bit more fragile than we thought. So, unforeseen amount of time away now after this surgery. Who knows? That could mean he's going to miss Mania. Will probably definitely miss the Chamber. So, even if he does make it to WrestleMania, I can't see him doing anything of substance. I can't see him having a match at WrestleMania at this point. He might be there and do something if he's able to. But he's not making it in the Chamber, unless this is another one of WWE's, worked shoot injuries that they like to do as of late.
It would be weird if the reason they gave for his injuries, he hurt himself working out. But in all seriousness, I am sad to hear this news because Bron Breakker's fantastic. He's great to watch. He's they've been pushing him hard as this potential future main eventer, and I 100% see that. And I feel like this is derailed at a rather unfortunate time because he was picking up a lot of momentum. So,
yep. Especially with Rollins gone, and there's an argument to be made that the vision has been better with Rollins gone. In Rollins' absence, these other members have got to shine. Logan Paul's been there every week. I mean, props to him. And Bron Breakker's been rapidly rising. Bronson Reed. I mean, that group as a whole has been better without Rollins. But now, for the same reason, Breakker's out. So.
But I think he'll be fine. I think when he returns, he'll be able to recover.
Well, let's hope so. But that's been your news this week on Wrestling with Power. That's all I got. And we're going to move right into some review action here. Starting with, of course, as we always do, the SmackDown review by Mr. Slick Vic himself.
Are you ready for some Lou Brand review?
Some lube and review?
Yeah, that too.
Oh, Blue Brand. Okay. Blue Brand. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, SmackDown from February 6th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Who's from Charlotte? I believe there's a famous horseman who's got a famous line that, we're in Flair country. Woo! The show starts with Drew McIntyre coming to the ring, but he gets jumped by Cody Rhodes, that coward, Cody the coward, patting that right now. Cody grabs the mic and says he can't, with good conscience, point to the WrestleMania sign. Then talks about CM Punk and Roman Reigns' promo on Raw and says it's going to be a you-know-what contest. Or you-know-what measuring contest. And they should be glad that he's not in it because he didn't get the nickname Raheem for no reason. I had to look this up because apparently
you had to look that up.
There's an AEW promo I'm not familiar with that I have to delve into a little more. Unless you have some insight for me right now.
Haven't you heard the song that they did? That was like a cover of his theme music, but it was Cody Raheem Rhodes. You haven't heard it?
No, I haven't. Send it to me later, please.
Yes, I will. Absolutely.
All right. He talks about being born right here in Charlotte. He says his shame will be Drew's downfall. And this was a pretty good promo. We get more of the usual Cody rah-rah promo, but this was more intense and heated. It's good stuff. I enjoyed that one. Backstage, Kiana James and Julia say they're gonna win the tag titles tonight. And Kiana is still really pushing the whole Julia will be a triple champion shtick. That remains to be seen. Nick Aldis tells Cody that if he wants to get his hands on Drew, he has to win the Elimination Chamber. And if he wants to get into the Elimination Chamber, he has to qualify for it next week. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Cody will be in it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we have a tag team title match between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Kiana James and Julia. So Rhea and Kiana start, but Julia gets tagged in and tells Rhea she wants Io. So Io gets tagged in. They trade some strikes. Julia gets a nice drop kick from the apron to the ground while Kiana holds Io. Rhea eventually gets the hot tag and cleans house. Rhea is still super over. He dives out of the ring onto Julia, and looks like she face plants, but luckily she isn't hurt. Rhea hits an electric chair drop. I think that's what I call it, right? Well, electric chair drop, you kind of fall back, I believe, but you kind of front electric chair drop. One or the other. Kiana reverses a riptide, super kicks Rhea, and power bombs Io onto Rhea. That looked pretty good. Rhea and Io turn the tide and hit Julia with the riptide and the over the moonsault combo for the win. This was okay. The Rhea and Io team are still super over. They could have some more. They could have some more heat in the feud. Hopefully that comes along. As I said in the past, I'm glad they have so many main event women in the tag division, as I think this helps boost it. But this match is all right. Kiana James actually looked impressive here. She's definitely getting better. And before I move on, Mr. Mosley, I want your thoughts, your ramblings, your scribe on the opening segment and this tag team match.
Well, I thought the opening segment was... I didn't think much of it, and I really wasn't that big a fan. I know that Cody got a big pop out of the Raheem line. He got what he was going for. He got a cheap pop out of that. And a big reaction, for the present in the temporary space. But I thought it was kind of silly. It's a dick joke. I mean, come on. I think we're a little bit beyond that. So I thought that was kind of silly. Now, when you move on a little bit later down the line on SmackDown, it's going to make this intro segment even better for me personally. But we'll talk about that when you get there. The match, the tag team title match. Obviously, we weren't going to see the belts change hands here, and I think that that's the biggest problem. is that it's become too predictable that you're not going to see certain things happen at certain times. But I wish that, Julia's my girl. So I hated seeing them. I knew they would lose, but I hated seeing her take the pin. That part sucked.
Yes, I'll agree with you on that 100%.
Yeah.
Why did they have the women's U.S. champion take the fall?
Yeah, it's
almost like, they're protecting Kiana in this feud when she's not even the champion.
It's true. And I think maybe coming off the Rumble, Kiana did very well in the Rumble. She shined in the women's Rumble,
yes,
for sure. And that was my first thought. Maybe they saw how good she did and they don't want to bury her by taking a pin here, but there's no good way to do it. If you're going to, just have them, beat somebody else, because either way you go, you're going to bury the person that you just put over in the Rumble, or you're going to bury the women's U.S. champion who you're trying to get over and rise through the ranks. Rub me the wrong way, Slick Vic.
Fair enough. Do you think Cody will qualify for the Elimination Chamber next week?
I think so. I think he will definitely qualify, because I don't... Well, we're on the road to WrestleMania. And right now the card for WrestleMania is not very clear, especially with individuals like Cody Rhodes. So I don't think he'll win at Elimination Chamber, but I think he has to be in it, because they have to build the idea that he might win and therefore be able to challenge for the belt at Mania. Maybe he will win it, but I think in the short term, in the interim, if you will, he's got to be in that match. I don't think there's anything else for him to do. He'll be in there. Jacob will be in there, unless they have them going up against each other, which I don't think they do, right? They've already had... What did they... No, they didn't, did they? Was that a qualifier match?
Which one?
SmackDown.
I've only gone through one match that was a tag team title for the women's title.
But there was a qualifier match on SmackDown too,
yeah.
right?
Yes, there was. There was. This show is all about them qualifying triple threat matches, as you'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
It's, spoiler alert, very exhausting.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Continue.
Unless you got more to add.
No, I got nothing else to add, Slick Vic. I'm getting ahead of myself, and I need you to go on, because I'm starting to, I'm thinking about all this stuff that happened, and I'm like, well, Vic hasn't talked about this yet, so let's go ahead and move right on. We'll mosey to the next segment.
You're hearing voices in your head.
Yeah, they talk to me.
They come. I forgot the words already now. They
understand.
Yeah. They counsel me. They understand.
Counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
All right. So we got a backstage
they
segment.
Talk to me.
Whoa. Backstage, Ilya Dragunov, The Miz, and Carmelo Hayes argue. Miz says he went to Nick Aldis, and the U.S. Open Challenge is closed. Hopefully that's the case. Anyways, we have a match. The Miz versus Carmelo Hayes in a non-title match.
Said it was closed. I didn't understand that. Said it was closed just because they decided to end it, or it was closed?
It was left kind of vague, so
okay.
I think we'll have to wait till next week's SmackDown on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a match. As I mentioned, Carmelo Hayes and The Miz in a non-title match. Melo hits a nice springboard leg drop on a draped Miz. The Miz mocks Hayes as we go to break. Every time I say Hayes, I think of Michael Hayes now for some reason. Melo flips over the top onto the Miz. Miz barely breaks the fall, which looked nasty. I think I remember R-Truth once diving off the top rope onto the Miz, and the Miz completely didn't catch him. And that was a big thing where you don't dive off the top rope onto the Miz because he ain't going to catch you.
Yeah.
Anyways, Miz hits an interesting springboard powerbomb. Melo hits a really good counter as he rolls through the skull-crushing finale into the first 48. But that was smooth.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, other than the finish, this was a run-of-the-mill match. It could easily be skipped, as I hope this ends the U.S. title open challenge and we get some new blood into the mix. Feels like Carmelo and Miz have been having this rather cold feud for a while now, so I'm ready to move on. So yeah, the only thing good about this, in my opinion, was that ending, because yeah, it's wearing itself thin. Yeah. All right, backstage. Tiffany's.
I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree. I'm sorry. I was looking at something there, Slick Vic, but no. That match, I do want to point out, and like I said, that was an awesome way to counter the skull crushing finale. I thought.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Very impressive. But and I'm glad that the U.S. Championship Open Challenge is done.
We don't know.
But I want to know. Well, I want to know why. I want to know what's behind this, because they just dropped it, and I want to know what's going on. Continue.
What's causing all this?
Yeah.
All right, backstage, Tiffany Stratton in her first promo in a while, where she says she's focused on the Elimination Chamber and reminds everybody that SmackDown runs on Tiffy time. She's then interrupted by Chelsea Green and Alba Fire, who mock her. Tiffy tells her instead of checking the headlines, she should check the obituaries after their match.
No. Yeah.
Bo Dallas says Solo took the lantern and left us in the dark. Not because you wanted to be alone, because you're scared of being left behind in the dark all by yourself. I'm sorry, it's a terrible Uncle Howdy impression, but he took the damn lantern, man. You know, I got my lantern over there. You saw it. It's important. I would never, ever part with my lantern.
I saw it, and I have a story about that as well here in a moment when you're done.
Wait, don't give it to me now. If it's about the lantern, yeah, that's all I got.
It's about lanterns. It's about lanterns. So there's a thrift store in a town, in one of the towns that I deliver to, and I drive by it like twice a week, and they've got this clown car sitting out front. It's one of those quarter machine things that you ride as a kid. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's a car with a clown in it, and it's Bozo the Clown. I mean, it's got Bozo on the front license plate. So I've been seeing this thing for months and months now, and finally, you know, usually by this time, I don't want to stop for anything. I'm just trying to get done, get home. I've got an hour drive back from that place to my hometown. So, but the other day, you know, curiosity got me. I decided to park and walk in. I walk in, I ask about the clown car, because I was going to buy this fucking thing. They tell me... They tell me that it's not for sale, that they're actually renting it off a company, kind of like arcade machines, you know.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I start looking around, and this is just like a complete junk store. I mean, there's stuff everywhere, and it's all kinds of junk everywhere. But some of the coolest junk is actually on the walls and hanging up on the walls. And so I get towards like the register, where the register area is, and I see like 7 or 8 of these really old school, awesome looking lanterns hanging up. Antique, primo shit lanterns. And I'm like, I'm buying one of these for sure. Like, I have to have it. So I ask her, and I'm like, how much for your lanterns? She's like, oh, those are not for sale, they're just display. So I immediately turned around and left. And that's it. This thrift store, this junk store, where they're selling junk, the most primo of the junk they have is not for sale. It's only for decoration. And neither is the clown car. So fuck that place. I'm never going back. Anyway, continue.
I bet if you offered enough money, you can get one of them lanterns.
They had like 7 or 8 of them. You know, they could have parted with one of those lanterns. But no. Yeah. Now, they did have some oil lamps towards the front. And I thought about grabbing an oil lamp. But once I saw the lanterns and was turned down, you know, I was done. I was over it. They sent me right over the edge and out the door.
Oh, man. Okay. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I wish you could have had yourself a fancy lantern there, man.
I tried. I really did. Maybe one day.
All right, so the first of many triple threat matches Mosley and I are going to call tonight begins right now. We have a triple threat match for the Elimination Chamber qualifier with Lash Legend versus Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton. So Chelsea runs her mouth to both girls and gets punched in the face for it. Tiffany and Lash battle it out. Tiffy dives onto Lash and Nia. By the way, Nia is with Lash and Alba is with Chelsea. Tiffany goes for a weird waist lock on the apron to Chelsea, but Chelsea counters with a dive onto the off the top to Tiffany and Nia for a huge pop, which caused the crowd, which was mostly dead, to wake up. I love how they show Wade Barrett saluting as we go to break. Lash takes out both women, and with press slams and a splash, Tiffy hits an awkward pop-up drop kick onto Lash and a double suplex to Chelsea. The crowd is firmly behind Chelsea here. Lash hits Tiffy with a buckle bomb and a choke slam for 2. Chelsea goes coast to coast, but Nia breaks up the pin. Alba takes Alba takes a bullet in the form of Nia for Chelsea.
There you go.
Tiffany counters the unprettier into the prettiest moonsault ever for the win. That's a fun call. The unprettier into the prettiest moonsault ever. Anyways, this was all right. I mean, Tiffany kind of has some ring rust. I hate to say that. She was not as smooth as the Tiffany of old yet, but I'm sure it'll, with some seasoning, it'll happen. Same can be said about Lash. Lash is still green. With a little more seasoning, she'll be pretty good. She'll be a force to be reckoned with. And Chelsea completely stole the show here. She was bouncing all over the place, and I kind of wish she won the match, but
yeah,
whatever.
That was me too, man. And towards the end, you almost thought that she was going to. And then they had to put Tiffany Stratton over, and I'm like, fuck. That makes me like Tiffany Stratton. I do like Tiffany Stratton, but that made me give it a thumbs down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm starting to root for Chelsea Green more and more, and I wanted her to I wanted to see her win this one big time.
All right, salute for Chelsea.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard too. Apparently, she got hurt during this match. The reason I found that out was the next night I was perusing through YouTube, and there was a AAA show on Saturday. Yeah. And if you remember correctly, that Chelsea is one half of the AAA tag team champions with Ethan Page. And unfortunately, Ethan Page did not tag with Chelsea that night. He tagged with La Hijra. I don't know if I'm saying it right. And it turns out, that Chelsea got hurt this match. I don't know how serious it is, but she wasn't able to compete in that AAA match.
Boy, people are getting hurt a lot lately, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, look at the women's division. I mean, there's been a lot of them. Yeah. I mean, there was B-Fab, there was Michin, now there's Chelsea, there's Piper. Bianca's been out for 9 months.
With a broken finger. Actually, I read a little news clip about that earlier, and I was going to bring that up during our news segment, but I didn't find it to be that interesting. But apparently, there was word that her injury was weird, like something about how they had never seen that type of injury before, and that's why it was taking so long to come back. But then at the same time, it's a broken finger. Anyway, we're no more closer to the light than we were before, and so I decided not to actually do that. But I did see that just today.
Backstage, Randy says he's disappointed in his Rumble performance, but he's going to win tonight and enter his 10th Elimination Chamber match. 10 of them. I don't even think Randy's ever won in a single one of them, but I could be wrong. But 10 of them? Jesus.
There were 5 of them.
So Aleister Black and Zelina interrupt and taunt him, and we have and then, that sets up the match later. But then Kit Wilson comes out, and Joe Tessitore puts over his music. Now Wade Barrett imitates the dance moves, and then Kit gets on the mic, and he's disgusted by the Rumble for all its toxic masculinity. He gets the crowd to start chanting "toxic" after every one of his sentences. I gotta say, he's getting this shtick over. When I used to roll my eyes when I first saw Kit Wilson, but what's it called? I'm coming around. Kit Wilson calls out anyone from the back who was in the Rumble to have a match with him. And out comes Obafemi. Bell rings. Oba tries really hard, but he loses to Kit in quick succession. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Kit Wilson gets squashed in under a minute. Oba marches his way to the ring. Yeah. Oba wins. I believe this is his SmackDown debut. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was his first SmackDown match, and he crushed Obafemi.
Yeah, I believe it was his first SmackDown match, and as far as I know, he's still undecided as to which brand he's going to sign with, right? Which I think is kind of...
He's a free agent.
Exactly, which I find kind of dumb why they're dragging that out, but nonetheless.
Backstage, R-Truth and Damian Priest were watching on the monitors. The Truth is impressed. Damian, however, is unamused. Drew McIntyre bumps into them. Him and Damian have a brief face-off. Drew gets into the ring, but this time, or Drew marches his way to the ring, but this time Jacob Fatu jumps him. Security tries to break it up. Jacob dispatches a bunch of them, and then Drew scampers away. That's actually a word that Joe Tessitore used. He scampered away.
He ski-daddled.
And then Nick Aldis tells Jacob Fatu the same thing he told Cody. Hey, if you want Drew, you have to qualify and win the Elimination Chamber. So, do you think Jacob Fatu is going to win his triple threat match next week?
Yes.
Yes. You put a lot of thought into that one. I'm glad you did, because that's a very important decision there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, let me get your thoughts on Kit Wilson, Obafemi, R-Truth, Damian Priest, and Jacob Fatu. Any thoughts on any of this?
Not so much on the backstage segment. The match with Obafemi, again, I kind of already said it. I think it's dumb how they're dragging it out where he's going to go. To me, I don't think that it's that big of a deal to drag out. So I don't understand why that's his main thing. But yeah, he's a monster, and he came out here and he crushed Kit Wilson, who called him toxic. He said something like, "I'm a feminist and you're toxic." I don't know what that was about. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. But with Jacob coming out and attacking Drew McIntyre, I laughed my ass off when I saw that. I thought that was hilarious. And I mentioned earlier how the opening segment was not that exciting for me, but after this, it made the opening segment that much better, because now, like, every time Drew McIntyre has came out to say something, he gets his ass kicked. He gets jumped and gets his ass kicked, and he has to run away. So, yeah, I liked it.
All right, we got a match next. We got kind of a big match. I mean, this is the most hyped match on the show. This is the only one with, like, any resemblance of heat, really. It's Shinsuke Nakamura versus Tama Tonga. All these weeks of backstage bickering, finally we got a match. All right, which is a lot more than, most of Nakamura's matches, by the way. This technically had more build than Nakamura's match with AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Anyways,
True.
Tama Tonga's theme song is actually pretty good. I don't know if you caught that part. It's got a heavy sound with elements of that old school Head Shrinkers theme with the percussion sound. I think somebody used to play the Head Shrinkers theme for me once upon a time.
Every once in a while it comes out. All right, I just had to wait and see if I had to wait and see if that kicked into anything else. I forgot, but no, it doesn't. That's it.
So Wade Barrett acknowledges that these two wrestlers, had history in Japan. Tama starts with some offense, but Nakamura quickly counters with his trademark moves like his running knee to a draped Tama in the corner. The twitching leg thing in the corner. I don't know what you call that thing. You know what I'm talking about? Where Nakamura rests his leg on the opponent and goes... Blah!
That's good vibrations. That's what they call it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Good vibrations.
Yep.
Is that supposed to hurt?
I don't see how.
maybe it's like maybe it's like a stink face.
Stink face, or maybe you're supposed to be like a pressure point there or something. I don't know. Nakamura's crazy.
Okay, and then he hits his combo punches. Those look cool. Tama comes back and with a decent flatliner. Tama hits a flying elbow drop onto Nakamura, who's draped in the announcer's table, and we go to break. We come back, and Nakamura is hitting some very stiff-looking kicks to Tama's chest. You can hear the sound and everything. Tama comes back with an interesting reverse twisting DDT, similar to the Crossroads, but Tama himself doesn't turn. He goes for it again, but Nakamura reverses it and hits a back suplex. Nakamura hits a series of forearm shots, and at this point, I noticed that Nakamura has got a lot of Tama's paint on his arms and part of his torso. Nakamura loads up the Kinshasa, but Tonga Loa grabs Nakamura's leg, which distracts him long enough for Tama to hit 2 cutthroats and win the match. Yeah. Decent match. These two have good chemistry, actually. I like Tama, but I feel like Nakamura could really use a win at some point. I mean... Nakamura needs at least something to help build him back up. I mean, he had that U.S. title reign, was it a year and a half ago, maybe?
Yeah.
But if this leads to more Tama Tonga singles matches, I'm fine with it. Go ahead.
Out of all of the members of the MFT, I think Tama's my favorite. I like his look the best. I think that he has the most potential out of any of them, really, to being honest. I mean, other than
Solo.
Other than Solo, but maybe even more so than Solo when he's able to kind of shine on his own a little bit. But I hate his finisher. I think that's the dumbest fucking finisher ever. And I agree with you totally that Nakamura needs some wins. Nakamura had that title reign, and then he went away for a while. We've talked about it time and time again. We thought he was gone. We thought he was riding out the rest of his contract, whatever. He'd show back up in Japan. He's done with WWE. This even goes back to Ricochet saying WWE ruined his career because of bad booking, I guess. And this is sort of, I'm not agreeing with that. But Nakamura is a legend in around the world of wrestling. He deserves better, and I think that he should have won this match. He does need some wins, and if we're going to build him back up to anything, he needs some wins. Otherwise, he's just putting people over, and what does it matter who he puts over if he doesn't have any stock? Because he never really built up any stock in the WWE yet. They never really gave him a chance to get that stock, I feel like. But, 2, he just came off that awesome match with AJ Styles. Fantastic match with AJ Styles. Right now on one of the top 5 matches, I think, on both of our 2026 lists so far. And he's losing to fucking Tama Tonga. So,
like I said, if this leads to more Tama Tonga singles matches, I'm fine with it, though.
Yeah, I guess so, but I think I would have rather we had my cake and eat it too. Why can't we have more Tama Tonga singles matches and let Shinsuke get a win here? Yeah.
Because we got to have these triple threat matches, man.
There is the saving grace that it wasn't necessarily a completely clean win over Nakamura. So, there's that.
Now, before I move on, I need to take a pause for the cause. I know this is not between shows like we normally do, but let's take one.
Let's do it. Be right back. All right, everybody, we're back. And Vic, you are still on SmackDown. Take it away.
So in a rather bizarre backstage segment, Fraxium and the Motor City Machine Guns come across Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano, who is laying face down in a crate that has an NXT label on it. Who's staring at it intensely, kind of intensely, or sad, longingly is the wrong word, is the better word. Candice is hoping one of the baby faces try cheering him up, but nobody has any sympathy for Johnny wrestling. None. Is this a tease that Johnny is going back to NXT? Also, where the hell have the Motor City Machine Guns been? Why aren't they featured in matches more regularly? That's the biggest takeaway I had with this silly segment. And then Rio are celebrating their victory. In walks in Nia Jax and Lash Legend, who talks some trash. And afterwards, looks like a future tag team match is happening. Nia and Lash leave, and in walks Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, who also have a brief face-off. Kit Wilson bumps into Matt Cardona, and Apollo Crews was here?
Yeah.
I know. Mosley, since we've done this podcast, has either of us ever talked about Apollo Crews?
Other than like 20 minutes ago, no, never.
I was like, this guy still works here? Anyways,
apparently,
Kit tells Matt that this is all his fault. You know, toxic masculinity was on its way out before you came back in looking like a protein bar with chiseled abs. They tease a future match. Kit says he has to take a warm bath. All right. Any thoughts on any of this backstage nonsense? Johnny Gargano, Motor City Machine Guns, Fraxium, Rio.
So, I hope that Johnny Gargano's not going back to NXT, because that's a big downgrade from... I mean, if he goes there and spends a little time and comes back sort of repackaged, then it works. But I think that he's been in the business long enough. He does not need to be back in NXT. They just need to book him better. The last time we saw Apollo Crews, I believe he was doing like the African Warrior thing during the pandemic.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, and he had Trick Williams as one of his little like African warriors before he was Trick Williams.
Wasn't Omos also part of that shtick, that gimmick?
I don't know. I don't think so. Was he? Maybe.
I don't know. It's been a long time. Feels like that COVID era was, a million years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, good times. And people would, I don't know how people would bid to get their face on the screens during the COVID era, but I always thought it was funny when they would put up like Chris Benoit's face on one of the screens, and people would catch it.
the Thunderdome? You're like the Thunderdome.
Yeah, the Thunderdome.
Oh, man. Classic trolling, awesome. Whatever you want to call it.
Awesome.
All right, so Nick Aldis introduces Liv Morgan, who comes to the ring with Big Sexy. Liv calls herself the greatest Royal Rumble winner of all time, and a whole bunch of other adjectives to describe herself. Liv asks the Charlotte crowd which opponent she should pick. Neither of them really gets a reaction from the crowd. Raquel does the whole 6'7" thing. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
But Liv says she wants to address the elephant in the room and then turns to Raquel. Raquel grabs the mic and sounds like she's about to unload on Liv, but Jade Cargill's music hits. Jade says if Liv chooses her, she's going to beat that ass at WrestleMania. And Jordynne Grace comes out and tells Liv that if she can get Jade to defend her title, then she will become champion and Liv will have to face her for the title. Liv does a lot of laughing. I'm talking about a lot of laughing. And then she calls Jordan Geordie, like, Geordie LaForge. Man, that reminds me, I had a separate gimmick set up. You remember Geordie LaForge?
Yeah. Geordie always freaked me out, man, when I was a kid. Because when he would take the visor off, his eyes were like he was like Scorpion. Always freaks me out.
I'm going to make a mental note of this. That's going to be the gimmick next week. Is going to be something from TNG.
When I asked you earlier about if you had your gimmick ready, I was thinking, because I had this whole thing in my head, like he said he was going to bring a Star Trek gimmick, so we're going to talk about some Star Trek, and I didn't have anything prepared, but I was really looking forward to that Star Trek gimmick. And then you're like, it's Jason, and I'm like, that's actually better for this show. Being that Friday the 13th is here in a couple of days, I got my shirt, and we're in the Jason mode, so I'm glad that you forgot about it Slick Vic. We can always get to next generation, the next generation.
That's good. I thought I disappointed you, pal, and there's nothing I would want to do than disappoint you.
No, I'm totally okay with it because, look, we can prepare the next generation or Star Trek in general. I'm all for it. I can bring some gimmicks too, so we'll make a good day out of it.
So Nick Aldis makes a match between Jade and Jordan versus Raquel and Liv. All right, so Jade and Jordan hit stereo spine busters, and then we go to break. Back in, the Judgment Day girls are taking it to Grace. Liv hits the Three Amigos, but Jordy counters and hits a few body slams on Liv. Jade comes back in, hits a super kick on Raquel, but misses and attempts to hit a super kick on Raquel, but misses and hits Grace. Jade shows no remorse. Raquel tries a running boot to Jade, but misses and hits Liv Morgan. Raquel does show some remorse, and then we have a face-off between Raquel and Jade. But then Jordan pushes Raquel into Jade and then rolls up Raquel for the 1-2-3. The match itself was nothing special, but not terrible or anything. I did wish the sequence when both teams accidentally... I did really like the sequence when both teams accidentally hit their partners, which will add more heat to their respective feuds. So, not terrible, but but all right. Anyways, what do you think of this whole women's SmackDown Women's Championship stuff with these four ladies?
I felt the same way as you did. I think that the whole match was forgettable, but the spot where each teammate hit their own teammate, that was the spot. That's what made the match. Again, like you said, to further the feuds within them, within the individual groups. I liked the fact that we got to see Jade in a match that wasn't a one-on-one squash match for a change. And I'm a big fan of Jordynne Grace, so I liked seeing her pick up the win here. Thought that was good. I think that with the whole exchange between Liv and Raquel and Jade prior to the match, Jade Cargill would eat Liv Morgan. Raquel might be able to put up a fight, but I think she would eat Liv Morgan for breakfast, so I don't see Liv picking Jade as her opponent. But I could be wrong. So,
no, I think when we get to the Raw segment, I think Liv's answer is going to be kind of set in stone. All right. So, backstage, a dejected Sami Zayn is doing the walk of shame. Ray Phoenix comes up to him and tries to cheer him up. And then Trick Williams comes in and tells Ray that Sami is Charles Barkley and Trick is Michael Jordan. Now, as a Chicago native, I love that line. Ray Phoenix and Trick trade some blows, and we'll probably have another match between them soon. Jade and Jordan are arguing. Nick Aldis comes in, and we're finally going to get a title defense from Jade Cargill because next week on SmackDown, she's going to defend that title against Jordynne Grace. Mosley, I'm sorry, bro, but they're going to feed your girl to the storm.
I think that Jordan's going to put up a fight here. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see a surprise title change, and I would have preferred this not to happen at all, because I want them to build Jordan up to that match and have her actually win the thing when it does happen. This is way premature. I don't think Jordan's going to win, and I don't think she's going to get squashed, though. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think that she's going to I don't think that she's just going to get fed to Jade. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll be pissed, and we'll hear about it on next week's episode.
My wording was definitely too strong. I don't think Jordan will get fed to Jade, but they'll put on a competitive match, but Jade's going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
Any thoughts on the match or Sami or any other Trick Williams and Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley?
I think you said everything that needed to be said. I was a big MJ fan as well, so yes.
Perfect. All right, Drew McIntyre, who's on the announcer's table, is finally able to talk. He says Cody and Jacob should be banned from from qualifying chamber matches. Says he crushed Sammy, and it was broken dreams for him. I don't know if you caught that line, but Broken Dreams is the name of Drew McIntyre's old theme that some fans really want to see him use again. It's been a while since I heard that song, but yeah.
Now, was that the theme that he had in NXT when he had came back? It was sort of like the theme he has now, but it's different, or are we talking about a completely different theme song?
I'm going to get crucified for not knowing the answer to that, Mosley. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That could be like, like 2009 Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. If it was, I mean, because I know that he had, when he came back to WWE and he was in NXT for a while, and then he came up to the roster and everything, he had this theme song that was so badass. And like his theme song now is pretty badass, but it's sort of a toned down variation of what it was before. So I'm in the camp with you. I don't know if that's what they're talking about, or if they're talking about like an actual song that was his theme at some point in his career. I don't know.
Okay. So Drew turns his attention to Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns and says these two came off insecure and they made the WWE Championship that Drew holds come off as second rate. And he tells the SmackDown locker room they need to show up, they need to show them up or leave. Says he's been to hell and back for this title. Never went part-time. He was here when the world shut down, and he's earned this title. He name drops a bunch of legends that have held this belt, like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, not Dusty Rhodes, which I thought was hilarious. Says Punk and Roman are aura farming. Now, I might be an out-of-touch old man, but what the hell is aura farming?
He said Punk and Roman were aura farming?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, we're old men here, dude.
I'm gonna Google it. This is why we have Google.
Yeah. And the whole locker room is coming after him because they want his title. This was really good. Because I remember on Raw last week, Drew McIntyre and that title pretty much got buried by CM Punk and Roman Reigns. But this was good. This was a very babyface promo from Drew, which was kind of odd, but nonetheless, it was pretty good. And before Drew can leave, Trick Williams interrupts and tells Drew that he shouldn't worry about any of the people he mentioned. He should be worried about Trick Williams. Drew says, "Learn to walk before you run, or he'll stick those lemon pepper steppers where the sun don't shine." Have you found out what aura farming means?
Yeah. All right. So this was popularized in 2024. It's apparently social media slang. So I don't think anybody's going to hate us old men for not knowing what it was. Aura farming is a viral slang term for deliberately cultivating an appearance of effortless coolness, confidence, or mystique, often through subtle actions or curated social media content to gain admiration or social status. Did that make any sense to you?
Yes, it did. It did. A lot of big words, but I got it. It
says the trend gained global recognition in mid-2025, largely due to a viral video of an Indonesian boy, Ryan Arkandaka, calmly dancing on a fast-moving boat during a traditional race. So, that's aura farming.
Fantastic.
Good stuff, pal.
Any thoughts on this promo that Drew McIntyre cut?
I think that we just got our episode title, for one thing. Drew McIntyre, it was funny because he got up on the announce table and it's like he's trying to get away from somebody else kicking his ass. But yeah, I liked it too, and I liked the Dusty bit. I didn't... When he made the aura farming comment, I didn't really understand it either, but I just thought that maybe he was... I don't look into these things often, Slick Vic. I just think when somebody says something I don't understand, it don't matter. It's out of my vocabulary. Nobody that I know ever says anything like that, so like I don't even worry about looking it up. And if you hadn't have mentioned it right now on the show, I probably would have never known. But, yeah, was what it was.
Did you think this was kind of a babyface promo, and intentionally, or?
I don't think it was babyface. I think it was more of Drew doing what he does best and being one of the best heels and, making sense. He's complaining, but he's making sense. And,
Right.
It's good to remind everybody that, hey, the WWE title is the title. It's got the lineage. The World Heavyweight title they're using now does not. They chose not to link that lineage up with the old Big Gold, which is a big mistake, but, whatever. But they're trying to boost that title's popularity, and good for that. But we need to be reminded that the WWE title is not the second-rate title here. We need to be reminded that Drew McIntyre is not a second-rate champion. So, good stuff.
All right. So, now on to the main event. We have another triple threat match for a spot in the Elimination Chamber. We have Solo Sikoa versus Aleister Black versus Randy Orton. So, all three men immediately fight outside where Black hits a big moonsault and we go to break. Black hits a big kick to Solo's head, who kicks out at 1. Remember, kids, you hit a Samoan in the head. Big mistake. Their heads are indestructible. We go to break. Randy walks around and stomps on both grounded opponents, which is, old school heel Randy Orton stuff there. Nice pop-up Samoan drop from Solo to Aleister. And then Randy eventually does double vintage Randy Orton on both men. And the match ends with an RKO out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, but he hits an RKO onto Solo. 1, 2, 3. Overall, the match was nothing special. I think it was pretty obvious who was going to win this match, which, again, predictability is not a bad thing as long as it's executed well. I'm not saying this was executed well, but it wasn't terrible. This was just a generic triple threat match. And at this point in the show, I was getting exhausted. So I was like, all right, whatever. Cool. Randy's advancing. I'm fine with that. No complaints.
Fair play.
Next.
Yeah.
Thus concludes the SmackDown review. Unless you've got anything else to add, we can move on or take a pause for the cause or however you feel, my man.
I will leave that up to you. I'm not really needing a pause right at the moment, but if you do, I'm all for it. But yeah, I've got nothing else to add. Decent SmackDown. I think it's better than the one that came before it. So, good stuff. And, like you said, predictability isn't bad if it's executed well. I don't think that we have as exciting of an Elimination Chamber without Randy Orton in it. And maybe he wins the damn thing. Who knows? It's starting to get exciting, so I'm pumped about that.
I would like a quick pause for the cause, if that's all right.
We will take another pause for the cause and be right back. All right, Slick Vic, we're back. Let's talk about some Monday Night Raw this past Monday, which was February the 9th, was yesterday in Cleveland, Ohio. Show starts with CM Punk showing up, and AJ Lee's there with him. We get news confirmed that Bron Breakker had to have surgery and will be out indefinitely, which we already talked about on our news portion of... Yeah. But it was confirmed by Michael Cole, I believe. Next is an in-ring segment. Becky Lynch heads to the ring, and she is obviously pissed off. What is she pissed off about? She's pissed off because AJ Lee's there. AJ's music hits, and she skips down to the ring. Becky asks, what is she doing here? AJ says she's here to support her friend Maxine, who has a match tonight. Becky says she's on to AJ, and that she is ruining her life. Becky asks, what will it take to make AJ go away? And AJ says she wants a match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky initially says no, but then changes her mind. So, apparently, I don't remember if it was made official or not, but obviously it will be at Elimination Chamber because it's in Chicago, right? AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I think we called this weeks and weeks and weeks ago, Slick Vic, when they first started this whole thing. So they're finally getting around to it. And apparently it's happening. Any thoughts on this opening segment to Monday Night Raw before we move on?
Yep. It is 100% confirmed it's happening. Well, I thought Becky was super over the top here. Like she was borderline comical to cringy, like 60s Batman comic book villain, like crazy over the top.
Yeah.
AJ's facial expressions were kind of cute, funny. You know, I got a little smirk out of that one. I love the Chihuahua line. Don't let my wife hear this podcast, but I call my wife the angry Chihuahua all the time. So I got a little laugh out of that one. Overall, I enjoyed this segment. But it was an odd way to set up a title match because Becky's like, I want this match. I'll have the title. No title. But I still want this match.
Yeah.
And later on in the show, they make it official for the title.
It definitely was sort of odd, especially towards the end of the segment. I felt like it was droning on. And the point that they got to, they could have probably got to a lot quicker some other way. But I will say that, I'm always impressed with AJ Lee. Every time she comes back, even if she's just cutting a promo, needless to say, in her match, like the match that she had at WrestlePalooza, I've been impressed with her since she's been back. To have been gone for so long, to have been sort of away from this new wave of women wrestling that's came in, I think she pairs well. So, yeah. Looking forward to her match. Looking forward to her match for the title. Hopefully she wins the thing. Speaking of matches, up next is a match for the World Tag Team Championship, Slick Vic. This is the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, the current champions, versus Alpha Academy, Otis and Akira Tozawa. So, I actually thought Alpha Academy might win this one towards the end. And maybe, just maybe, they deserve to, considering the performance they put on with this opportunity to shine. And it was absolutely an opportunity for them to shine. They routed the Usos this entire match just to have the Usos come up at the end and hit a double spear and a 1D on Otis for the win. But I want to reiterate, Alpha Academy did fantastic, and I feel like the Usos just didn't show up. I don't know if you feel this way, Vic. I felt like what offense they did get in didn't look great. They were botching super kicks left and right. There were just several spots that just didn't look good on the part of the champions here, whereas the challengers looked like challengers. They looked like champions. So, yeah, maybe they deserve to win this one. And, again, the double spear and the 1D by the Usos onto Otis at the end, I thought that looked fantastic, but 95% of that was because Otis sold it so well whenever they hit him. So, good stuff. Any thoughts on this match, Vic?
Yeah, well, my first thought was actually the opposite of yours. I'm like, there's no way the Alpha Academy is winning this match. I never thought for a second they were going to win. I'm sorry. Not sorry, but I didn't think they would. The crowd was hot for this, though. They were reacting to everything the Alpha Academy did. But how many times is Otis's only move the running corner splash? Like he hit that like 25 times this match.
It's one of his most used moves for sure.
Yeah, it sucks that the super kick missed on the Caterpillar because I thought that would have been a really cool spot.
Yeah, he like totally missed his head on that one.
Yeah, he did. It's unfortunate because I thought that would have been a really cool super kick to hit. Anyways, I did like the more serious side that the Alpha Academy brought. Tozawa's senton from the top looks really good. Like that man gets insane height. Like he's gonna go up and touch the rafters.
Yeah,
they're hanging from the rafters, man. He was gonna go high five somebody from up the top. Anyways. Also, you mentioned this too. The 1D they hit was pretty smooth because the Usos have a history of not hitting that move really well. But no, that was a pretty good one they hit.
I
Overall,
I credit Otis for that. If you go
yeah,
back and watch it, he sold it so good that they couldn't fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
yeah.
just really good.
Overall, it was a decent match. It's nice to see a different team for a change, but it's not going to be memorable or anything. But not bad, not bad at all.
Moving on, we have an in-ring segment where we have Liv Morgan out in the ring with Dominic Mysterio. Vic, I think you mentioned earlier that you think that her decision was set in stone with this particular segment. She didn't really give an answer here that I
No.
remember, but in my notes verbatim, we don't get an answer here, but we do get Vicaire slapping Dom to end the segment, which was nice. That was a good slap. So, again, not set in stone, but a good possibility that it's going to be Vicaire versus Liv Morgan at WrestleMania. It's looking that way. Next up, we have a match. This is an Elimination Chamber qualifier triple threat match, and this is for the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Lyra Valkyria versus Ivy Nile versus Rhea Ripley. And if it wasn't any more obvious who was going to win this one, I don't know what to tell you. So Lyra and Ivy take it to Rhea in the early going. There's a nice belly-to-back suplex to Lyra while she was also holding on to Rhea. So both gals end up getting suplexed by Ivy Nile. I like that. There was a major botch when Rhea stacked Lyra on her shoulders, apparently for Ivy to jump off of the top turnbuckle. And what looked like she was going to try to bulldog her, hit her with a bulldog. But Rhea dropped Lyra too soon, and Ivy just kind of jumped into nothing and hit the ground. She went for the pin anyway, so it all looked super awkward. Rhea hits a riptide on Lyra and stacks her up for the 3 count to win the match. My thoughts, this was an awful match. Rhea outclasses both of these gals, and it was so obvious in this match. She couldn't get anything done with them. There were so many botches, so many missed spots. You could tell that Ivy Nile was waiting for spots. You could just tell she was nervous. Lyra is in the same boat, but she also looks kind of weak. This was a bad pairing, and it made for a bad match. Everything looked so choreographed. No surprise on the winner again, but damn, what a mess. Slick Vic, any thoughts on this match and the segment we had before it with Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vicaire?
I don't know if you caught this one, but Dom's shirt is sponsored by Dude Wipes.
I didn't see that, no. But
You know
I
Dude
use
Wipe?
those, so yeah, hell yeah.
Dom's shirt is sponsored by Dude Wipes. Fucking hilarious. Stephanie's cane-like pyro actually, made me, jump a bit.
Yeah.
Also, she said, "You talk too much." Now, I don't think Matthew is watching us, but I guarantee that's going to be a botchamania soon.
I hope so.
But her translating, I'm sorry, Dominic translating for Stephanie was freaking hilarious. He's like, "I don't think you want me to tell you what she said," and then Dominic starts talking back to her in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then before he can translate back to Liv Morgan, Stephanie cuts him off and says, "He says he's a little bitch." I thought that was fucking gold. Great stuff there. But the match, yeah, man. Yeah, it was a bummer. It was a bummer. I will say this, that stomp denial that Ivy Nile did was good. The Nightwing was smooth, but there was a whole lot of sloppiness and poorly timed sequences throughout this match, man. It was just unfortunate. Yeah. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of Ivy Nile, but they gave a lot of offense to her, which I think she could benefit the most from because Lyra and Rhea are way more established.
Yes.
But, it's not that good of a match, man. Not good. It could easily be skipped. And like you said, who the hell do you think was going to win this match?
Exactly. It was a given right from the get-go.
Yeah.
All right, up next we have an in-ring segment. We got Michael Cole. He's in the ring. He's ready to interview the World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk. But before Punk can be introduced, Finn Balor gets in the ring and snatches the mic away. Balor says he wants Punk at Elimination Chamber, but Adam Pearce comes out with security and says no, that it's too late. Pearce asks Balor to leave or be escorted out, and CM Punk's music hits. Punk heads to the ring and has some words with Balor before demanding Pearce make the match at Elimination Chamber for the world title against Balor. Following this fiasco, Punk cuts a great promo, and when Michael Cole asks him what is he doing jeopardizing the world title match at Mania. I did not make notes on what Punk said. This is one of those guys you just got to go watch it if you didn't, because he cut a great promo at this point. Basically saying he's a fighting champion. He's going to, be there he's there every week. He's going to be there every week. He's going to fight every week and every challenger and et cetera, et cetera. But it was really good because it was Punk, obviously. Next up, backstage segment, The Vision and Adam Pearce. Something about Breakker getting hurt training, which we know isn't what actually happened. I'm not sure what else they did during this segment other than try to bully Adam Pearce, which doesn't seem to work. So, Vic, after this, we have another match, and I'd like to get your thoughts on these segments before we move on.
Loved the CM Punk, Finn Balor stuff. I love that Finn referenced the top rope breaking in his match against Reigns. Is that the reason why he got lucky? Good stuff there. Good long-term, storytelling there. Sadly, the crowd was dead for when Balor was talking. That hurt me, man. That sucked. The crowd really came alive though when CM Punk came out. Punk needs something to do until Roman returns. I don't know if you heard this. Roman is going to be gone until March. We won't see Punk. We will not see Roman until after this feud with Finn Balor.
What for? I didn't know this.
No, what's it called? Roman will be on every Raw in March, but he will not be there until March. I'm looking at my calendar right now. We've only got 2 more Raws in March, but Roman will not be there. But I'm assuming Finn Balor will be there to help promote this match. Okay, fine. But I think, like I said, Punk needs something to do until Roman comes back in March. Unfortunately for Finn, I don't think Finn has any chance winning his match in Chicago against Punk. But, my biggest takeaway or my biggest hope is they still turn Finn babyface after this feud. There was even a segment earlier in the night where, the Judgment Day were saying, "Hey Finn, where's your mind at?" And he's kind of like, "Arr."
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all. I think, and I've got nothing to add with the Vision and Adam Pearce. But I just love how the crowd booed Logan Paul in his hometown.
Yeah. All right, so next up we have a match. This is Natty, not Natalia anymore, Natty versus Maxine Dupree. And I got to say, Slick Vic, I love Natty's new badass look, her entrance theme. It's great. I love it. I also note that Maxine does not stand a chance here. So, Natty gets on her from the get-go, but Maxine tries to mount a comeback for a second. Natty just kind of shrugs it off and takes the fight outside the ring. She's beating Maxine's head on top of the announce table. Both women end up getting counted out because Natty's whooping Maxine's ass on top of the announce table. Natty puts the sharpshooter on Maxine on top of the table. AJ Lee's music hits and she runs down to ringside to check on Maxine while Natty retreats. Becky Lynch shows up and attacks AJ from behind as AJ is helping Maxine toward the back. So we get a little bit furthering of this feud between AJ and Becky here. We also have furthering of the feud between Maxine and Natty. I'm not sure if this was a good move, though, to have Natty walk off from the appearance of AJ Lee. Right, Natty comes out, she's this big badass, this big ass kicker. AJ Lee's music hits and Natty just kind of scurries away. Why didn't she stick around and whoop AJ Lee's ass? That's what I was thinking. After this, we get a pre-recorded segment. It's a pretty cool little promo from LA Knight. He's basically hyping up the triple threat qualifier match later tonight, which he will be in. Then we have another match, Javon Evans and the original El Grande Americano versus Bravo and El Grande Americano. Very few notes for this, Slick Vic. Javon hit a coast-to-coast OG cutter, meeting Bravo midair for the win. It was the spot of the match, probably the spot of the night. It's really the only thing that this entire match had going for it. Other than that, yeah.
That's all I had written in my notes too, man. I had the ending was cool, OG cutter out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I have to correct you. Though, man. It was Rayo and Bravo, not Rayo and the original. I mean, not the current El Grande Americano.
Okay, well that tells you how much attention I was willing to pay to this match. It was Rayo and Bravo. Okay, so nonetheless, the Americanos take the L here. Vic, any thoughts on the match with Natty and Maxine, the segment with LA Knight, which really wasn't much, or the El Grande match, which you just gave us your notes on that?
Well, I have one line notes for the tag match, which I just gave you, because that OG cut out of nowhere was cool.
Yep.
For Natty and Maxine, not much to say here. I mean, the match ended in double count out in under 2 minutes. Post match stuff was all right. I don't mind seeing a future tag team match between Natty and Becky versus Maxine and AJ, but
yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll see. I don't think AJ's going to wrestle until Elimination Chamber. And the vignette with what LA Knight and Penta and Austin Theory. All right, cool. They always do a good production.
Yeah. Props for that. All right, so now we're on to a match. It looks like this is the main event of the night. It's the triple threat qualifying match for the men's elimination chamber, and we have Penta versus Austin Theory versus LA Knight. My notes are a little bit more extensive for this one. Knight is still getting huge pops when he comes out. Knight is very over still, and there was a period of time a while back where Knight was over, and then it kind of died, but now it's building back up. And I just kept thinking, man, they need to pull the trigger on this guy. They really need to give him his moment. I don't know how he's going to fit in with the rest of the main event stuff that's going on, but I want to see it happen for him. So, having said that, I really wanted to see Knight win this match, but I also would love to see Penta in the Elimination Chamber. Knight and Penta clothesline Theory out of the ring and fight for a bit. Theory takes out Penta on the outside into a commercial break. When we come back, Theory's still in control. Now with Penta in the ring, and Knight is somewhere. Eventually, Knight shows back up, slams Theory and Penta into the announce desk. Back in the ring, Penta revives and hits a double crossbody from the top turnbuckle on Knight and Theory. There's a big spot where Knight catches Penta on the top turnbuckle and goes for the megaplex, but Theory hits a powerbomb on Knight and everyone goes crashing down. We've seen this spot done several different ways over the years, but nonetheless it's still cool because it's not overdone. Logan Paul and Bronson Reed eventually show up. They take out LA Knight, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, that's it for him. Pierce has security throw the Vision members out. Theory hits the stomp on Knight, but Penta pulls him out of the ring, breaking the pinfall. Penta charges Theory, but gets backdropped on the announce desk. The mysterious masked man shows up and hits Theory with a super kick and a stomp before heading for the hills. Knight hits a BFT on a stunned Theory back in the ring to pick up the win. And your winner, LA Knight, advancing to the Elimination Chamber match. Love that for him. I thought this match was pretty good. There were some moments where, as is the case with triple threat matches, where one guy gets thrown out and we get to see two guys fight for a while and then rinse and repeat. I don't like that because it's just an old trope at this point. But not, other than that, I thought this was really good. And it looked like Knight was going to get the axe there at the end, but he ends up coming back and winning the damn thing. So, Vic, what did you think?
This was the best triple threat match between all shows, for sure. it helps that they have built-in heat between Night and the Vision, but also, like as I mentioned, there's so many triple threat matches. The burnout is real. Having said that, LA Knight brought his A game here. He came off really determined and a little vicious. Penta looked all right. He was always fun to watch. Austin Theory is still kind of in a rebuilding phase, but I'm really glad LA Knight won. The man needed a win, and this will put him in the Elimination Chamber. I don't think he will win the Elimination Chamber, but I'm really happy he's in it. So yeah, this is good stuff. I have a quick question. Do you think there'll be any Vision presence in the chamber? Do you think either Bronson Reed or Logan Paul will qualify in the coming weeks?
I think that there's a very, very good chance, yes. And I think that if we get one member in there, they're all going to be there. So, yeah, I think there's a very solid chance of either guy. I mean, I would probably rather it be Bronson, because I can see him like hitting a tsunami off the top of a pod and killing somebody. Would be cool. But yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
What about you?
I think one of them for sure will be in it. I'm not entirely sure who will, because I think Bronson is the more, dominant performer, but Logan Paul has the bigger star power. So it's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, that was Monday Night Raw, ladies and gentlemen. And we still got a couple of segments to go here on the show. A couple of fun segments to fill out the rest of the show. Slick Vic, if you would like to move on, take a pause for the cause. Now is the time to, what do they say at weddings? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Now, I have taken enough pauses for the cause, but if you have to go, I will not object. I will not oblige.
No, I'm fine. I'm good to go. Actually, I'm good to go. Let's get some this day in wrestling history. We haven't done this in a little while. I always love looking back on this day in wrestling history because it's always fun for me and Vic, being big fans of wrestling from back in the day. We love all the retro stuff. Obviously, we do the retro reviews. We talk a lot about retro because we are old men, and we're them old men who yearn for the old days. So let's take a look back with Slick Vic here, this day in wrestling history.
I unfortunately come with some sad news, because on this day in 2023, I believe the years, let me double check. I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe it was 2023.
So 2023, well, not 2023,
I'm sorry,
2003. That would put it 23 years ago.
Yeah. Yep. On this day in 2003, we lost a legend, a bona fide Hall of Famer in Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, whose music is a reoccurring theme on Wrestling with Power. Is it not, Mr. Mosley?
It is a reoccurring theme, and if you guys haven't noticed already, Vic and I both were big fans of Mr. Perfect. And who shouldn't be a big fan of Mr. Perfect? He was perfect, and I don't know where he got that name, but I mean, obviously, watch any of his matches. In the ring, he was perfect. It's hard to find somebody who is a better in-ring worker, seller. He was even pretty good on promos, but he had the perfect gimmick, no pun intended, for his character. And we love him right here on Wrestling with Power. Even Slick Vic has taken on the moniker of Mr. Perfect, obviously inspired by, not only with the help of the crystal ball, but I truly believe at this point with the help of the spirit of Mr. Perfect in his picks over the past several months. And yeah, it was a sad day in 2003 that we lost Kurt Hennig. I tried Slick Vic earlier today to try to look and see, what were some of his matches. I wanted to try to pick out what might be a favorite of mine. I couldn't do it. I could not find a favorite Mr. Perfect match because I found myself just watching them. Like, I would find a match and I would just have to sit there and watch the whole thing. So I didn't come up with a favorite Mr. Perfect match, but all of them were amazing. Do you have any specific? And well, again, we do have the music as we play for Slick Vic every time he gets a 100% right on his picks, and we'll give the fans here a listen to that music once more here in just a few moments. But first, I want to get your thoughts on Mr. Perfect.
You know, a lot of people, whenever you see a countdown of like the greatest wrestlers who were never world champion, there's two that usually always top the list. It's either Mr. Perfect, it's Kurt Hennig, or Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. Here's the thing, though. There's a caveat to that, because Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, was the AWA World Heavyweight Champion back when that belt kind of meant something.
Yes.
All right. So, you know, I wasn't watching Kurt back when he was in AWA. I remember watching him as a youngster, watching his matches with Bret Hart. And I put this over once when we were talking about, we were talking about something. I don't know if our favorite SummerSlam matches, maybe. I remember putting over Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect's SummerSlam 1991 match for the Intercontinental title, and that was a fantastic match. They had a rematch at King of the Ring 1993, also a fantastic match. But let me back up a little bit, because Kurt had a very brief main event run against Hulk Hogan, which culminated in a Saturday night's main event match. What I would remember most about that feud was Perfect took a hammer and destroyed the world title.
The Winged Eagle belt.
Yeah. But you know, Mr. Perfect was a member of the Bobby Heenan family. He had the coach, which we'll not talk about. But he's also a member of the NWO. He joined the NWO in 1996, I believe it was. Yeah. So I got a lot of fond memories of Mr. Perfect. I remember his matches. I remember his promo. I believe I even sent you some of his vignettes. Remember where he throws the football and then catches it himself.
Yeah.
He's bowling a perfect game. He's, getting the bullseye and the darts. They say the man really was perfect at everything. Unfortunately, you couldn't go on on the internet, or I had the DVD, The Life and Times of Mr. Perfect, and they showed the outtakes where he kept missing. Yeah. But we'll not talk. We'll not talk about that. There's even like a vignette of him like diving, like showing a perfect dive, and he's wearing his wrestling trunks while he's diving. Yeah. He's got his singlet on,
boots and all.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he had the boots, but he had a singlet on. Like okay. He's doing a dive in a wrestling singlet on. After WCW went down, he came back to WWE in the 2002 Royal Rumble. I remember that he wasn't necessarily a surprise entrant, because I do believe they announced him on Raw, but he was there. He was the final three. It was him, Triple H, and Kurt Angle were the final three, and then he jumps ship to TNA. And then he cuts some of the most outrageous promos ever, where he just keeps talking about how, I beat up Brock Lesnar at 35,000 feet. Jeff Jarrett, I'm going to kick your ass. And by the way, I beat up Brock Lesnar at 35,000 feet. He just kept finding a way to worm that line into every promo.
I think that was a legitimate thing, too. Like, he took down Brock Lesnar on a plane.
It was the plane ride from hell. That infamous plane ride from hell got Mr. Perfect fired from WWE.
God.
Man, I could sit here and talk to you about Kurt Hennig all day, because I'm a big fan, longtime fan. But I just want to say I remember him coming into WWE. I remember the Intercontinental title run. He put a lot of prestige on the Intercontinental title.
He is synonymous to me with that. And we did the episode art, a few weeks ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Cold in Canada episode art, where you were Mr. Perfect. And I tried to get, but I was a little bit too late on the request. Brad he had already finished the episode art, so I was a little bit too late on the request. I really wanted to have the Intercontinental title in that, because that Intercontinental title belt, at the old style one, well, the 80s, early 90s style Intercontinental title, when I think about that belt design, I think about Mr. Perfect. Now, there's some people that think Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, maybe some people even think of Razor Ramon, maybe even Stone Cold Steve Austin. Several people who have held that. I think of Mr. Perfect.
That's fantastic. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Because, he did so much. Like, he helped really make that title a meaningful mid-card title. Kurt was the man. When Bret Hart beat him, like, this was such a big deal for Bret's career to beat Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bret talks about Perfect glowingly. If Bret Hart says nice things about you, then he really means it.
Yeah, he must. Because he talks shit about everyone.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this one. You might have been I don't know if you remember this or not, but he turned babyface by teaming up with the Macho Man when Bobby Heenan and Ric Flair were taunting him, saying, "Oh, he's retired. He's not going to do anything." I don't know if you remember that.
We talked about this a few weeks ago. I don't remember what episode it was, but you did mention this a few weeks ago, where you said Bobby Heenan kept saying he's not good enough. He's not a wrestler anymore. He's not. And you said that he kept getting more and more and more aggravated, and finally he jumped in the match.
Quick little backstory. The match was originally going to be the Ultimate Maniacs, which was Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man versus Razor Ramon and Ric Flair.
What was the event?
Survivor Series 1992.
Okay.
Ultimate Warrior gets fired, and Macho Man is left without a tag team partner. So they decide, we're going to turn Mr. Perfect babyface and team him up with Macho Man. And that's when the whole, they had this Saturday, I don't know if that's Saturday night's main event. Something like, their Saturday morning show. I forget what it's called now.
Was it Shotgun Saturday Night?
No, this was before that. It was, it was,
when Superstars, was it?
Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon used to do this show together. God, I can't believe the name escapes me.
The only thing I think of is Superstars or Shotgun Saturday Night. But I think Shotgun Saturday Night was mid to late 90s.
It was Primetime Wrestling.
Okay. Yep.
So, on an episode of Primetime Wrestling, Macho Man shows up and he says, "You got the perfect partner in mind, yeah." And then, the rest of the show just goes on about how is Perfect going to take Savage on his offer, or is he going to stick with Bobby Heenan and Ric Flair? And because Bobby Heenan's like saying, "Oh, he's retired. He doesn't have it anymore. He's not going to do it." And you see Perfect's face like, "Motherfucker, I still got it." Good shit. Good storytelling, pal. Good storytelling.
So this happened on Prime Time, or this happened at the Survivor Series event?
That happened on Prime Time.
Okay, so the whole build up happened on Prime Time then.
Yeah.
God damn, I got to go back and watch that.
They literally had like a whole week of build up.
Okay.
Because Warrior was literally fired like a week before that show.
Yeah.
And they had to scramble. They really had to scramble, and that's where Mr. Perfect decided they're going to have Mr. Perfect team up with Macho Man.
Right. Okay. Well, man, I have to go back and watch, because I've not actually seen that myself, but it sounds great. And
it was.
Slick Vic, you mentioned when we started the This Day in Wrestling History a few moments ago how it's sad news. But all we have to talk about is these great memories of Mr. Perfect. It's a sad day in wrestling history because he died. But it reminds us of all of the good stuff that he brought to wrestling, and how perfect. He really was. So, you know what? Props to him. And I'm sure that we will be talking more about him as the days and months and years go by, and some of our retro reviews, he'll probably pop back up several times. But you know what, Slick Vic, before we move on, I think there's one more thing that we need to do to cap this and say, Godspeed, Mr. Perfect.
Cheers to career.
Gotta let it play. And might I add, that was some friggin' awesome theme music too. Yeah. It really was. Like, it seems like you're watching a king come down from the heavens or something when you hear that. Good stuff. But all right, Slick Vic, we got a one more maybe brief, I don't know, it depends on how well you do, segment here for Wrestling with Power, if you're ready, if you're prepared.
I am not ready, unfortunately. I need to take a pause for the cause.
He's going to go and do some Google searching really quick, but coming up in just a few moments, we have our segment returning, which I have titled Guess What? And that's the title of the segment because it may change. It may be Guess the Champion, Guess the Wrestler, Guess the Pay-Per-View. This week's show, we're doing Guess the Wrestler. I don't think we've done that specific thing, so we're going to be kind of flying with it a little bit. I'm just going to give Vic some information about somebody. He's going to have to guess them. But first, we're going to take a pause for the cause, and we'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back from our last commercial break of the night to bring you the last segment of the night. We're running it back and bringing you our Guess What segment. Tonight's Guess What segment is Guess the Wrestler. Now, in previous episodes that we've done this, I've done Guess the Pay-Per-View. I've done Guess the Champion. Guess the Pay-Per-View is obviously, I would give a little bit of information. Well, they're all the same. I give a little bit of information to Slick Vic. He has to come up with who I'm talking about or what show I'm talking about. And tonight is a new one. We haven't done just Guess the Wrestler before. Obviously, Guess the Champion, you're guessing wrestlers, but this is a little bit different. I may give him some championship accolades of a wrestler. I may give him just any amount of information, where they were born, what day they were born, what year they were born, stuff like that, who they worked for, anything like that. And I think the way I'm going to do it tonight, Slick Vic, is I'm just going to give you when the individual was born and some of their accolades. And I think that will be enough to kind of help you a little bit. And then if there's anything else that you need to know, if you want a lifeline, I'll give you one lifeline. I'll find something else about the individual that I can provide to you. But I think that you'll do just fine in this. Are you ready, my friend?
Yes, I am.
All right, so I've pulled up already 4 wrestlers, okay? And we'll go with the first one here. Slick Vic. All right. So, this individual was born November the 1st, 1963 in Orlando, Florida. All right, let's take a look at some other stuff here. Championships and accomplishments. I'll give you some championships that this individual has won. And why don't we start with the WWE /WWF. This individual was a 2-time WWF Hardcore Champion, 1-time WWF Intercontinental Champion, 1-time WWE Tag Team Champion. Now here's where it gets kind of weird. WWF/E Tag Team Champions 10 times. So I guess technically they won the tag team titles in the WWE 11 times. There is some more accolades here, but I think that, well, I'll tell you this. This is a Hall of Famer, a WWE Hall of Famer. I will not specify the year. And there is one more accolade that I may save for your lifeline. But I will also tell you, Slick Vic, that this individual was a one-time AEW World Trios Champion.
How many times was this person WWF/E World Champion?
World Tag Team Champion 11 times. This individual, so I mentioned AEW. So they've wrestled in AEW. They've wrestled in WWE. They won a lot of titles in WWE. I will also tell you, Slick Vic, one more little piece of information here may help you narrow it down. They wrestled in TNA between 2005 and 2009.
Man, that doesn't do anything for me. I am struggling with this one. Please give me a lifeline or a hint of
okay,
something.
This may help Slick Vic figure this one out. This individual was King of the Ring in 1999.
Billy Gunn.
You got it. I knew the lifeline would do it for you.
Yeah. Thank God for that one.
Yeah! I knew the lifeline would do it for you. But yeah, 11 times the tag champions. And, you know, I don't really have here. Actually, yeah, I do. With he won the WWF/E Tag Team Championships with Bart Gunn 3 times, Road Dogg 5 times, and then it has it separated, Road Dogg. So I guess 6 times with Road Dogg, and then with Chuck, Billy and Chuck won it twice.
Okay.
He was a WWE Hall of Fame class in 2019. So, all right, Slick Vic. On to the next one. Let's see. All right, this individual. Ooh. Hey, was born February 11th, 1964, so I share a birthday with this cat. Let's take a look at some of, well, no, actually, was born February 11th, 1964, in Warner Robins, Georgia. Interesting. Championships won. We'll go down to the more notable ones here with the World Wrestling Federation. WWF Intercontinental Champion 1 time. WWF Tag Team Champion 1 time. I will tell you that was with the Big Boss Man. That may be a dead giveaway, I don't know. This is a WWE Hall of Famer. And is there anything else that I can help you with here? Without giving away too much, I don't think so.
Man, you really threw me off when you said he was a WWE Tag Team Champion with Big Boss Man.
Yeah, won the tag title 1 time, and his partner was Big Boss Man.
I have an idea, but then you told me this person is in the WWE Hall of Fame, and I'm like, no, this person. My answer is not in the Hall of Fame.
Actually, let me specify. This is not a WWE Hall of Famer. I was wrong about that.
Okay,
but has a connection to the WWE Hall of Fame. Let's put it that way.
Is this person a TNA Hall of Famer? Is it? I don't know if you said in your stats sheet.
Yeah, they are.
Ken Shamrock.
You got it. How did you figure that one out, Slick Vic?
I did know that him and Boss Man were tag team champions. I do remember that. I swear I do remember that.
I knew that might be a giveaway, but you know what? I had to give you something because the information was a little sparse.
You threw me off. You said WWE Hall of Famer, and Ken is not in the Hall of Fame yet.
Yeah, that was a mistake on my part. I'm sorry. All right. The next individual is a WWE Hall of Famer. So we'll go ahead and mention that right off the top. This individual was born June the 2nd, 1958 in Buffalo, New York. Championships and accomplishments. Let's take a look here. World Wrestling Federation / WWE. This individual, again, is a Hall of Famer. Has not won any championships in WWE, but did win a Slammy Award at one point in time. There is another accolade there that I will not give you. I think that'd be too much of a giveaway. I will give you some more championship accolades in other companies, though. So the NWA / WCW, this encompasses all of those titles. This individual was a 2-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, 2-time WCW World Television Champion, NWA / WCW United States Heavyweight Champion 5 times, and an NWA / WCW World Tag Team Champion 3 times. He won the Tag Team Championships with Barry Windham once, Sting once, and the Giant once.
Wait, this person won the tag team titles, you said? I'm sorry, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship?
The NWA, so it's the NWA / WCW list of championships. Okay. This individual did not win the NWA World Championship. But they did win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship twice, as well as many others.
You said there was this person also won the tag team title, the WWE tag team titles?
No, won the NWA. Okay, so it's got NWA / WCW World Tag Team Championship, and then it goes on to specify with Barry Windham. So I'm assuming that was the NWA World Tag Team titles that he won with Barry. Okay. Sting once and the Giant once. That obviously that has to be the WCW Tag Team titles. But total, altogether, NWA, WCW, World Tag Team Champion 3 times.
That's my hint right there, man. Those WCW Tag Team titles. Sting.
That's not your lifeline. But yes, I think that is because you are so familiar. I think you could probably figure it out without the lifeline. But if you need one, I will try to provide that for you.
Give it to me. I want to cash in that lifeline.
All right. This individual also was a Royal Rumble winner. I'm struggling to whether I should give you the year or not, because if I give you the year, you're gonna slam it home.
Lex Luger.
You got it. Royal Rumble 1994. It says with Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Explain to me why that is. I'm not familiar.
They both went over at the same time, and it was ruled a tie. Unlike when Batista and John Cena went over at the same time, they had Vince McMahon come in, tear his quads, and restart the match.
Great moment.
But now, back in '94, they declared it a tie because they wanted to see who the crowd would cheer for most. Because they had one referee come out and say, "The winner is Lex Luger," and there was like a lukewarm reaction. And then another referee came out to, "The winner is Bret Hart," and it was a much larger reaction. That told Vince McMahon all he needed to know, who was going to main event WrestleMania.
So this individual, and like I said, Lex Luger was a Slammy Award winner, 1994, Most Patriotic, obviously. Hall of Fame class of 2025. Royal Rumble winner with Bret Hart, as we just talked about. Is it crazy to you that because Hogan was still, well, Hogan was gone at this time, wasn't he? They were trying to push Lex Luger as the next Hogan.
Yeah, they had the old Lex Express and everything.
He didn't. Yeah, and we talked about the Lex Express was rebranded as the DX tour bus that got blown up. He never won a single championship in the WWF. Is that crazy to you? I mean, he is much more known for his time in WCW.
You know, I could have sworn he won a World Tag Team title with maybe the British Bulldog, but I guess that didn't happen. I know WrestleMania 11, it was him and the Bulldog versus, God, I don't remember who, but that was a match. He never won a world title. He never won any title in WWE.
According to Wikipedia, they say no. They say no.
No, that's true, man. He only had like a 2-year run.
Yeah. Well,
His
I
biggest
guess
accomplishment was winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. But every time I think of Lex Luger, I think of WCW. I don't think of his time in WWF. It doesn't even, like, I know it's there, but like that isn't the first thing that comes to mind whatsoever.
Have you heard of the Lex Express?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a WWE thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've gotten all 3 right so far, Slick Vic. We got one more before we end the show. And I don't know if you're going to get this one or not. I think it might be difficult. Then again, maybe it won't be. You have surprised me thus far. But this individual was born July 29th, 1962, Bay City, Michigan. All right. Let's take a look at some of their championship accolades. WWF, right off the top. WWF, WWE. World Tag Team Champion, won it twice. This individual is a Hall of Famer in the WWE. I think more importantly would be the WCW championship accolades, where this individual was a 1-time World Heavyweight Champion, a 2-time World Television Champion, 2-time United States Heavyweight Champion, 1-time United States Tag Team Champion, a 7... Huh?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, a 7-time World Tag Team Champion. And it looks like that's all of the notable championship accomplishments of this individual, at least as far as WWE and WCW goes. Now, I'll take it a step further here, Slick Vic, and tell you that this individual also won the TNA World Tag Team Championship twice. And I won't tell you who with.
Oh, man. What year was this person born?
This person was born in 1962. No Googling. I see you Googling over there. You're Googling with one hand.
I'm thinking here, okay? I'm thinking. 1962, so 14 years from now, I'm going to add my year, so God, it's not a lot of years. Okay.
You know, I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you here, Slick Vic, and this may be another hint. I thought that where this individual was born might give it away right off the bat.
Give me the data. Okay, give me the origin again.
I don't know if I can repeat that information. All right, this individual was born in Bay City, Michigan.
Bay City, Michigan.
So, Vic, you got an individual that was born, roughly 60 years ago in Bay City, Michigan. And obviously been around the game long enough to compete in not only WCW and WWF, but TNA. And win, as you said, a championship that you didn't even know existed, the United States tag titles. So, that's been around for a while.
I had no idea that title existed. So if there is any lifelines you can throw at me, please do.
Okay. I'll give you a lifeline. I think that this might put it right over the edge. I did mention that this individual was a Hall of Famer, and they were inducted in 2022.
I'm going to hog up all this dead air. 2002?
Yep, you got to think. 2022 went into the WWE Hall of Fame. And again, WWE Tag Team Champion twice. Lots of WCW titles, including the World. Also, had a pretty prominent role in TNA.
Man.
TNA/Impact World Tag Team Champion twice. I'm kind of surprised that they weren't the world champion in TNA, to be honest.
Who was this TNA? Who was this TNA partner?
That's going to cost you another lifeline. All right, so TNA Impact World Tag Team Champion, won it twice. Once with Eli Drake, a.k.a.
Yeah!
LA Knight. And once
Okay.
with Booker T.
I think I got it now. Is it all I care about is my freaks and my peaks? This goes to all my freaks out there. Big Papa Pump is your hookup.
What you got to do is you put a freak on each shoulder. And that's how you make your back. You get your back big. Yeah, Scott Steiner.
Scott Steiner.
All
He's
right.
fat.
He's fat. Samoa Joe's fat. Give me a fucking mic. Yeah, billed from Detroit, Michigan, but was actually born in Bay City, Michigan. I thought that would be a giveaway because combined with the fact that he's been around for a while, they used to wear the jerseys to the ring, him and his brother.
Yeah.
And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2022 with Rick. So
I needed that extra lifeline. So, yeah.
well, you know what? Big Papa Pump is your hookup. Holler if you hear me. And on that note, we will go ahead and play
Wow, I didn't know you had that. I didn't know you had that queued up.
I don't know where that came from. I didn't call for that. We're going to play us out. Do it live. Slick Vic, I just want to let all the people know before we head out today, we're live right now on Facebook as we are every Tuesday night, starting at roughly 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock Central, and don't know about Pacific. But anyway, we're here. We're live, and you can find us. Facebook.com if you're watching this on our YouTube page, Facebook.com/WrestlingWithPower if you're watching this on Facebook. Go over to YouTube and follow us on there, where you get all the episodes edited and refined to your viewing and listening pleasure. YouTube.com/@WrestlingWithPower, and of course on Spotify, just search up Wrestling with Power. We come right up. And actually, Slick Vic, I did a little investigative journalism the other day, and I went to Google, and I just typed in Wrestling with Power in Google. And the first thing that comes up is the Wrestling with Power podcast on
Yes.
YouTube.com.
As it should be.
As it should be. We are 1 in a million. And that is all for this week's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you tune in, follow, and catch us next week, where we will have, hopefully by then, a review. We're going to talk a little bit about Unreal Season 2. I know we've been kind of putting that off, but I think we're going to try to get to it next week. And also, Vic is going to be bringing us some Star Trek love with his gimmick. We're going to try to do a little Star Trek themed episode, I believe. I got a few things laying around here we can bring to the table as well. And then, of course, going forward from that, we're right into Elimination Chamber season. So Tuesday, February the 24th, we're going to be doing a retro review, and we're still kind of trying to decide what we're going to do, but it's going to be kind of in the same vein as we've been doing with our retro reviews. They're going to have something to do with the upcoming PLE. We'll have Slick Vic's picks for the Elimination Chamber. And then the Tuesday after that, February's gone, my friends. We're in March the 3rd, where we're going to have our Elimination Chamber review. So that's what's on the docket so far. Make sure you tune in, because a lot of good stuff coming up, especially if you're a Star Trek fan next week. I think we're going to have something special here for you. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all stay powerful. Slick Vic, will you play us out?
Thank you all for listening. If you want to decide or help us make our decision on our retro review, hit us up. We want to hear from you. Comment below, let us know, or email us. We got it. We will definitely take that into consideration. And until then, my friends, I want to wish you all the best in your future endeavors.